So we learned how to solve quadratics by factoring. Another way that we can do it is solving using square roots. But before we get into that, I just want to recap what a square root is. So if you recall, a number that is multiplied by itself to form a product is called a square root of that product. The operations of squaring and finding a square root are inverse operations. So what that means is that if I have something squared, to undo that square, I take the square root. They cancel each other out. Another example of this is like adding and subtracting. Those are inverse operations. They end up canceling each other out. Multiplying and dividing. So here, taking the square and square root are inverse operations. And so the radical symbol, which looks like this, is used to represent square roots. Positive real numbers have two square roots. So keyword there, it does need to be positive. We can't take the square root of a negative number, and we kind of talked about that in the quadratic formula videos. So for example, if I want to take the square root of 16, I am looking to see what number, if I square it, gets me 16. And you can type this in your calculator, and when you type that, it's going to give you the answer of 4. However, I told you that positive real numbers have two square roots. So how do I get 2? Well, how we get 2 is that it's actually going to be the positive 4 and negative 4. So that's really just saying 4 and negative 4 are my answers. And the reason why is if I take 4 and if I square it, that's really 4 times 4, which equals 16. And then if I take negative 4 and I square it, that's really equal to negative 4 times negative 4, which is also 16. So every square root, your answer is going to be the positive of that number and the negative of that number. And that's going to be important when we get into these problems in the next video. So the steps to solve quadratics using square roots. When we want to solve a quadratic equation in the form ax squared plus c equals 0, where the bx term is missing, we can use square roots. So this is the only case that we can use square roots, is when your equation looks like that. You have the square term, you have the c, but you don't have the bx term. So there's no term that has just x. And so to solve these, what we're going to do is first we're going to isolate the squared term. And then we're going to take the square root of both sides. And don't forget your plus or minus.